Unmute myself here. What is up, everybody? And welcome in to the Sactown Sports Kings recap. My name is Chris Watkins. Good to be joining y'all. Let's get some business out the way first. You can hear myself after every single Sacramento Kings game. Yes, every single Kings game, not just opening night, not just home games, but road games as well, right here on Sactown Sports 1140 YouTube channel. Also, I believe we're also live streaming on our Twitter account. So you can check us out again, pretty much around this time, about 10 or so minutes at the conclusion or after the conclusion of every Kings game this year. You can hear me tomorrow for the first time this week with my new co-host, Alan Stiles. Very happy to be bringing you guys Stiles and Watkins 10 to 2 Monday through Friday on Sactown Sports 1140. Really excited for that. So you can check out me and Alan tomorrow. First show in the books at 10 a.m. Super excited for that. And of course, been super excited for this opening night. Let's again make sure we take care of business out front. Sacramento Kings like the beam on opening day, 130-114 over the Utah Jazz in what was an exciting game. I think obviously a much anticipated game after the preseason. The Kings looked to have a lot of questions that needed to be answered still. And I think they answered a lot of those questions right out the gate. They came in hot. We knew just in general, not just tonight, but the Kings are going to have to come out to a really, really hot start to start this season and really take advantage of the fact that they have continuity. And so many other teams out there are just trying to figure out who they are and who their identity is. It was really good to see the Kings hop out early tonight and really take advantage of frankly, a team that they should beat. They are a better team than this Utah Jazz team. And it was good to see them take care of business right from the start and really just set the tone. And the man who set the tone, first and foremost, I'd be remiss if we did not start off this recap by talking about Harrison Barnes, HB, the Black Falcon. Wow, what an opening night for Harrison Barnes. 27 points in that just the first half. What a way to start the season. We spent so much time this offseason, I think rightfully so, talking about Keegan Murray, talking about, can De'Aaron Fox take this leap? All the new additions that come to this team, Sasha Vezenkov, Chris Duarte, and we'll get to those guys later. But not much is ever made of Harrison Barnes, a guy who's been here. I believe now he's the second longest tenured Sacramento King on the roster, besides De'Aaron Fox, as crazy as that is to say. But people don't think about Harrison Barnes when it comes to this team getting better. And in terms of other places that this team could potentially take a leap. And I'm not saying that tonight is going to be what we should expect to come for Harrison Barnes, but it's just an example of how deep this team is and how many different options they can realistically have to win a ball game. It was one of my favorite stats last year. I think the Kings had 7 guys at the end of the season who had finished with a 30-point game, which again just shows that it can be anybody's night on any given night, and there's not really anybody that you can key on because there's so much talent and so much shooting on this team that it's just really tough to game plan on. And Harrison Barnes starts off the season about as strong as you can with a 30 piece and put that on the board for one Sacramento King who has put up 30. I would expect at some point this year we're going to be talking about De'Aaron Fox having a 30 ball. Definitely might see Malik Monk drop a 30 ball, and new guy to the addition, Keegan Murray, definitely would expect to see some 30 balls. But Harrison Barnes starts off the season about as well as you can. I think he was 10 of 11 from the field in that first half, 5 of 5 from 3 to start off the game. Finishes off with 33, so definitely slowed down in that second half, but still great performance from Harrison. And, when you can get one of your other guys to step up in the way that HB did tonight, it's going to be really, really tough to beat this Kings team because, again, you just see the level of shooting and scoring ability that this team has. Domantas Sabonis on a night where you I don't want to say you don't really recognize him, but on a night where he's not really asserting himself all throughout the game, finishes 22, 12, and 5. De'Aaron Fox, definitely not a great shooting night. 6 of 18 from the field. He still puts up 18 points. It's just so many different guys. Chris Duarte came in off the bench and I thought looked really, really strong, hit a couple shots. A lot's been made of the possible starting competition between him and Kevin Huerter and where that falls. I think Duarte definitely put some good things on tape that Mike Brown's going to have to consider when it comes to where he goes with that starting spot. I think Huerter had another, let's call it forgettable night. Sorry, as I adjust my camera here, I would say Huerter had a forgettable night. Definitely didn't score in the first half. Was really concerning. Finishes with 7 points. Did knock down a triple, which is what he's in the game to do, but definitely didn't feel super positively about Kevin's performance today. And I don't think he's going to be pulled anytime soon, but it's definitely something to monitor if he's going to continue to struggle. And Chris Duarte is going to have games like he did tonight. Then that's definitely going to be an interesting thing to watch throughout this season. But thought that was a really, really good performance from Chris Duarte in his first action as a King. And while we're talking about first action as a Sacramento King, I think the guy that everyone was most excited to see for his debut tonight, Sasha Vezenkov, who came out, and I was surprised. First things first, I was not expecting to see Sasha that early in the game. He checked in about halfway through the first quarter of tonight's game, and that was a surprise to me, at least. I mean, we saw in that first preseason game, Sasha didn't check in until I think the second half, somewhere near the third quarter. And I thought, throughout the preseason, he is trying to find his footing, let's say, still defensively, switching over from EuroLeague to the NBA. Obviously, the athleticism is completely different in the NBA, and just trying to figure out the pace of the play is really difficult for a lot of players, not just Europeans, but also rookies in general. And I thought Sasha was going to kind of be slowly brought along. And even tonight, 15 minutes, it's nothing crazy, but for him to check in as early as he did, again, early in the first quarter or midway through the first quarter, knocked down his first triple, looked confident, finished with, I think, 8 points in this one. Knocked down a couple triples, though, looked confident. I would say his defense, if he can put that kind of defensive performance together every night, I think Mike Brown will gladly take it. I thought he looked really serviceable tonight. Was definitely no Kawhi Leonard out there, but was able to keep guys in front of him. For the most part, I think held his own, held his ground. And, I think the big thing for him that he can really imprint his impact is rebounding. Only finishes with 2 rebounds tonight, and just figuring out how to play more like a big man, I think would be really big for Sasha if he's trying to get more minutes. Of course, defensively he's going to be big, but I think for first game returns, I really like what I see from Sasha. Bringing him along as slowly as you can, I think, is only going to be more beneficial for him. Just allowing him to get comfortable and find his spots instead of it being more of a necessity. I would much rather come from a place where, okay, we're already doing well. Let's see if we can add this piece, instead of us struggling and feeling like, oh my gosh, we really need Sasha as a contributor. So I think the Kings are in a good spot there. I think Sasha's in a good spot where he's at right now. It's good that Mike Brown hasn't, thrown him into the doghouse because he just feels like he can't put him out there defensively. So that's really good to see. And I thought Sasha really took advantage of his opportunity today. Let's see what everyone else is talking about here. Let's go through some of this chat. Oh, man. Manny Too Legit, of course. Shout out Manny, who's always in the chat during the show. How have I not talked about this? Malik Monk, the posterizer was just incredible. It was one of those moments where I feel like, I'm gonna remember exactly where I was when I saw that. And to get that highlight on night one is just absolutely incredible. For De'Aaron to get the steal, I mean, I thought De'Aaron was going to take it himself, to be honest. He had a clear runway. Of course, De'Aaron's faster than everybody else in the league. I thought he was going to kind of wait for Chris Dunn to step up and then just kind of explode on him. Instead, of course, De'Aaron Fox makes the right play, draws Chris Dunn into the paint, too deep, dishes it to Malik Monk, who just, oh my gosh, Malik was just, he was like a kid at a candy store at that point. When you see, when you see De'Aaron see you, and you see how deep Chris Dunn was in the paint, I mean, you're just, your eyes light up. You start salivating, and Malik took advantage of that opportunity and just threw it down on him. That was absolutely filthy. And what really crazy that you're probably going to get, that's going to be in contention for dunk of the year. And we just got it night one. So I know De'Aaron and Keegan are having a competition this year to see who can have the best highlight dunk. I think it's fair that Malik wasn't brought into that conversation, because clearly he's at a different level than those other guys. So shout out Malik, who just, man, I mean, Kyle Draper was saying that that Delta Center or whatever they're calling it was rocking. It was an incredible dunk by Malik. Crazy. And I hope we can get something like that on Friday for the home opener, because if we can get a dunk of that quality in Golden One Center, look out. The roof is going to be torn off that place. I'm really excited for Friday. I cannot wait. I think it's just going to be ridiculous. The crowd is going to be absolutely through the roof. It's going to be a raucous energy Friday night. And then you got the Lakers on Sunday. So can't wait. I'm trying to not get ahead of myself, but really can't wait for that Friday game. Shout out Kevin here. Kevin Fernandez. Physicality was there. It looks like the Jazz were beat up. That's the one thing I know Mike Brown's going to be so excited to see. It was really clear that the defensive physicality was just, it was there. I mean, Mike Brown's been harping on it all preseason. It's the thing that we all know, if this Kings team wants to be taken seriously, like as a real contender, they're going to have to bring it on the defensive end. And physicality was really the big thing Mike Brown talked about. And, the physicality was there, but the thing that they still have to work on, which Coach Brown will talk about and every single basketball coach will talk about endlessly, is finding that fine line between defending physically and defending without fouling, because the Kings really struggled to defend without fouling tonight. I love the physicality. I think Mike Brown will take the physicality every day of the week and figure out the free throws later, but the Kings out free throwed by 11 attempts. That discrepancy was even bigger in the first half. It's just something that's going to come with the territory. I mean, they have to try and be better on the defensive end, and the easiest way to do that is just to up the physicality. And when you up the physicality, fouls are going to come with it. And it's just finding the balance. So day one, these are the kind of things you should expect from a team. If they still haven't figured this out, game 15, game 20, that's when Mike might need to reevaluate things. But for right now, I think Mike Brown will gladly take that level of physicality that they had tonight for the 31 foul attempts, because, that definitely did make this game a lot closer than it needed to be. Because if I'm being honest, the Kings killed the Jazz tonight. Like the Jazz were, their only hope was Jordan Clarkson getting hot at the end of that game there, and it just didn't happen for him. I thought the Jazz played terribly. If I were a Utah Jazz fan tonight, I would not feel good about where the season's going. It didn't feel like they really had any plan of attack for tonight, which brings me into the strangest thing I was not expecting today was the zone defense that the Jazz threw out there. Was not working for even a moment. I think on the first possession it actually worked, and then the Jazz just seemed really committed to it for about 3 quarters, and the Kings absolutely torched them. I mean, I'm trying to understand the logic. I think Will Hardy is one of the best coaches in the NBA, but I don't understand what he was thinking tonight running that zone with the amount of shooters that the Kings have. I understand that they really like to get into the high post action with Domantas Sabonis, and when you run that 3-2 zone, it's a way of kind of having somebody clog up that entry pass, but it didn't make sense with the way Chris Duarte was shooting, and just with the level of shooters. I mean, Harrison Barnes is a big reason why he was able to have so many open perimeter jumpers. just didn't make sense from Will Hardy and that Utah team. But the Kings definitely took advantage. Like, it's one thing to get the open looks, but you got to be able to execute. And I think that's frankly a big reason why the Kings, or more specifically Harrison Barnes, had such a good first half, was they were just taking what the defense gave them, and HB knocked down all of those shots. And then in the second half, the Jazz kind of backed off of that look a little bit, and you saw Harrison Barnes get less opportunity. And I think it was as simple as that. But just big on the Kings for them executing as just incredibly as they did, because man, it was I know we were all expecting the Kings to be good, but it's another thing to kind of go out there and do it. The broadcast did a good job of pointing out the fact that they're on the road for an opening night, and the energy. I mean, just think about the energy that we're going to have in Golden One Center on Friday. It's definitely not going to be, or wasn't that level tonight in Utah, but there's a piece of that, like, especially to open up that game. Again, the Kings came out really strong and quieted that crowd from the start, but the poise to do that is something that I think that's almost playoff experience showing off game one, where they've been in bigger games. They've been in raucous environments, and an opening night atmosphere doesn't feel big, because the last game the Kings were in was a game 7 against their local rivals in their building. So they are in the Kings building, I should say. So they know what a real intense environment is, and they shouldn't be fazed by an opening night crowd, and they weren't at all. So I think that's a great sign of development, and good on Mike Brown and most importantly the players for going out there and quieting that crowd, silencing that noise, and just going out there and executing to their best, because that was some of the most well executed basketball I've seen them play. Like in that first half, it was really incredible what they put up, 72 points, I think, in that first half. It was really, really well played game by the Sacramento Kings, and that's just exactly what you want to see on night one of the season, is just a really good performance like that. And again, a performance where your stars really didn't have to be stars. De'Aaron finished with 18 points, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to pull up the box scores here. It's a little bit tough to get the final stats when we're on the road. De'Aaron finished off with 18 points, Domas with 22, but HB with 33, Keegan with 15, Monk with 10, McGee, I haven't even mentioned his name, had a nice little stint, had 8 points, and Duarte with 9, Sasha with 8. When you can get those levels of contribution, it's going to be so big for the Kings. And this is just the beginning. Like, how many nights is Sasha only going to have 8 points the more and more comfortable he gets? Davion Mitchell had 0 tonight, and that was fine. That they didn't even really need him. Didn't notice that he didn't even really perform tonight. It's just built into how deep this team is, and it's a really, really good sign. And I'm excited to see how the Kings do with a more serious test in Golden State on Friday. And then the Lakers game on Sunday is going to present a whole different set of tests. Like, the Kings have played the Warriors, like, what is it? I think it's like 8 or 9 times in the last 12 games that they've played. It'll be nice to see them go against a Lakers opponent that's almost completely different. Like, the Warriors obviously are small, fast, perimeter centric. And then you look at a team like the Lakers, who have AD and LeBron, a lot more half court, a lot more isolation ball with the Lakers than what you would get with the Warriors. And seeing how the Kings do with that, because that's going to be a lot like a playoff series as well, where you go from one style of play to another style, a completely different style of play in the next series, and you have to be able to have the pieces to adapt for that. And it'll be interesting to see what Mike Brown does. We've heard in the past that maybe with bigger lineups, Mike Brown will go to Alex Len and Sabonis at center and power forward. So maybe they go with a bigger lineup. Obviously, Trey Lyles wasn't even active tonight. It'll be interesting to see where he fits into all of this. Will he be a backup center? Will he be a power forward. Is that the reason why we saw Sasha so early tonight? Are those minutes normally going to go to Trey Lyles? I don't know. I really don't know. I think that's going to be an interesting development because I was kind of assuming that Trey Lyles was going to get all the backup 5 minutes when he re-signed, because knowing that they were going to try and play Sasha as much as possible. But they seem really happy with JaVale. JaVale played good today. It was also interesting that the first guy that Mike Brown took off at the end of the game in order to kind of, after the Jazz white flagged it, he kept in all the starters except for Domantas Sabonis and threw out Alex Len. Don't know if I'm reading too much into that, but thought that was interesting. So we'll see. I mean, much like last season, it'll be interesting to see just kind of how the Kings allocate their backup center minutes, because obviously Domantas Sabonis is going to be playing 30 to 35 minutes on most nights, maybe even 40. So you really don't need many minutes out of that backup center, but the minutes you do get out of that, you need him to be as productive as possible. If I could give my 3 stars, I want to try and make this a thing that I do after every game, much like in hockey. For those who don't know, I'm not a big hockey guy, so I'm not even sure if I'm doing this right. But in hockey, at the end of every game, they give out like a 3-star system, 1 star. All of them are positive, obviously, them being stars, but it's just kind of meant to give acknowledgement to everybody, with 3 stars being like the best game, the best acknowledgement, and 1 star being good job, but there were some who did more noteworthy things, I guess. You all get the point. I'm going to go with my 1 star first. Who do I want to give it to? Let's give our 1 star to Chris Duarte. Let's do that. We'll give 1 star to Chris Duarte, who again came in first action as a Sacramento King. And came out blazing. He knocked down a really, really tough contested shot in the corner, hit down a couple other threes. I believe he finished with 3 on the night. Yeah, 3 of 4 from the perimeter, and just showed why Mike Brown has been considering entering him into the starting lineup. He brings a little bit more of the physicality on defense. He's a little bit quicker on his feet than Kevin Huerter is on the defensive end of things as well. And if he's going to be able to shoot about at the same rate as Kevin Huerter, it really only makes sense to give Duarte more minutes and maybe even possibly slide him into that starting rotation, because man, he just looks like a guy who's going to fit into this offense so well. We heard a lot about his ability to play off of Domantas Sabonis from their time in Indiana. Haven't even seen that yet. I just think as a straight plug and play guy, not really even setting up offense for him, he looks like he's a great fit and somebody who's just gonna elevate this team on given nights. It's not about, again, with how deep this team is, it's not even necessarily about consistency. Of course, consistency is great, but with the amount of talent they have, it's, are you able to have some nights where you're able to carry us offensively and have it be your night? And I could definitely see Chris Duarte having a couple 20-point performances in him. So I'm really excited to see how he kind of develops throughout this season. And if he can maybe crack that starting rotation, which has been a big talking point throughout this preseason. So that's 1 star for Duarte. Who do I want to give my 2nd star to? Let me just talk it out. How about that? Malik Monk, frankly, missed too many shots. I thought Malik could play better. We've seen Malik play better. Not saying he played poorly, but 4 of 12 from the field, 2 of 9 from 3. Did have 7 assists, but just not enough impact. Fox, of course, 18 points, third highest scorer on the team. Just missed everything from the perimeter, which I'm not upset at. I'm not saying De'Aaron had a bad game because he missed all his threes, but 1 of 7 from 3. I don't even remember the one he made. Had a lot of wide open looks, and obviously the story with De'Aaron Fox heading into every season is going to be how much more improved of a shooter is he going to be. So the fact that he goes 1 for 7 from 3, can't quite give it to him. Keegan had a decent game for sure. he kind of came and went. Uh, 15 points is really solid. It's a solid baseline for him. That's kind of, I feel like this should feel like a Keegan Murray bad game this year. 15 points, 5 of 13. Did get 8 rebounds, which I love to see. I love to see Keegan develop, crashing the glass. I think that's going to be another point where he can really add impact to this team is on the glass, next to Domantas Sabonis, who is the best rebounder in the NBA. I think I'm going to have to give my 2 stars to Domas. I almost don't want to, because it didn't. Again, he just has this knack about him for having amazing games, but especially statistically. But just, it's just so seamless, and it's not loud, and you just look up and he'll have 11 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists, and you're like, I feel like he's barely touched the ball. And tonight was kind of one of those nights. I mean, you obviously notice some pockets where Domas is able to kind of have his way physically with some of the bigs, especially when he gets switched on to some smaller guys like Utah did because of their zone. But Domas had a great game. It was quiet, but I still got to give him the recognition. I'm going to give Domas my 2 stars, 22, 12, 5 assists. I believe he had 2 blocks on the night as well, 8 of 14 from the field, 5 of 7 from the free throw line. He also took a 3. I don't think he made it. He did make the 3. So he's, again, I talked about that a lot in my pregame show against the Warriors, where just his ability to hit those perimeter jumpers is going to be big for the Kings this year. Not necessarily because it's Sabonis extending his range, but just what it makes the other team think and how it makes them act. We saw a lot of, in that playoff series, the Warriors sag off of Sabonis because they weren't afraid of him shooting the ball. If he can hit the perimeter jump shot, and he doesn't even necessarily need to make it, but just the ability of having them think he's going to shoot it and come out to defend him. And with Sabonis being as skilled as he is, he can, how that opens the floor. He can look for cutters then. He can try and blow by somebody. He's just got so many different options that he can do if people respect his jumper. So I'm going to be a proponent of Sabonis pulling that 3, as long as he's hitting them, 34, 35% of the time. Big men are kind of held to a little bit of a different standard than guards. So I'm not upset if Sabonis hits his 3 at like a 34 to 35% rate. But good to see him hit it. Good to see him hit that 3. And then, of course, 3 stars was no question at all. Harrison Barnes, 33 points, 27 in the first half, 5 of 5 from 3 in the first half, finishes 5 of 7, 11 of 16 from the field. Dude is a grown man. That's all I can say. He knows when this team needs buckets. He knows how to get those buckets. The slow Euro step is devastating. I want to call them the Suns. The Jazz had no answer for Harrison's slow Euro. Was also just, his 3 was locked in. When he's locked in and he can hit 3s, and sometimes I'm a big sound of the net guy, and like the way that the net snaps when you hit the 3, that kind of stuff matters to me. And when Harrison's locked in, it's some of the best nets in the league, man. Just the way it snaps, the sound it makes, it's so pure. And it was good to see Harrison locked in like that, because we've seen him throughout his time in Sacramento just be able to catch fire. And me and my guy Frankie Carticelli say it all the time. When Harrison Barnes plays well, the Kings tend to play well, and it's really that cut and dry. And Harrison obviously had an incredible night tonight, 33 points. He gets the 3 stars. He gets the man of the match. He gets player of the game, whatever you want to say. It was Harrison Barnes' night. And, if I could sprinkle just a little bit of myself into this for those who listen to me often, of course, Harrison Barnes had 27 points in the first half and then 6 in the second half. But I digress. What a night! Just what a night! What a way for the Kings to capitalize on an opportunity. muted for a second. Much has been made about how difficult the Western Conference is going to be this year, but the Kings did a great job starting off the season 1-0. The beam is lit. I haven't even seen it yet. I need to make my way outside and go check that out. But big on the Kings for starting off this season with a win that they should get over an inferior Utah Jazz team. They play again Friday against Golden State. And again, got to take care of some business here. You can check out myself, Chris Watkins, and Alan Stiles, very, very talented young man from the Bay Area, coming tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sactown Sports 1140. You can also check us out right here on the YouTube channel and on our Twitter account as well. We will live stream video Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Again, Stiles and Watkins debuting tomorrow at 10 a.m. immediately after the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. And following us will be Whitey and Draper. So you can hear all their thoughts about tonight's game. You can also check out the Sactown Sports Kings recap, which you're watching right now, at the end of every single Sacramento Kings game this season, both home, road. Sometimes I'll be doing it. Well, most of the time I'll be doing it here, right here. But the other half of the time, I'll be doing it live from Golden One Center on the floor. Hoping this thing can get some traction. Definitely appreciate everybody's input. There was tons of people in the live stream today. Hope to see you guys come back again on Friday, and then again after that. Please be sure to spread the word, as word of mouth is the best way of this thing reaching as many people as possible. Appreciate the support. And the most important thing is like the beam, y'all. We are 1-0. It's going to be a really fun season. I think tonight was a really good way of setting the tone for what should be a really fun season of Sacramento Kings basketball. I hope you all enjoyed the game. I hope you all enjoyed this recap. Again, check us out on Friday after the game with the Warriors. Check me out tomorrow, 10 a.m. To 2 p.m. with Alan Stiles after the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. My name has been Chris Watkins. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I will see y'all again either tomorrow or on Friday. Appreciate y'all. Have a great night and light the beat. Huh?